الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين أما بعد. We are continuing our discussion from the previous video where we had discussed the few concepts with regards to zenith, that is zawal, where the sun is at the highest elevation during the day. Then we had discussed with regards to the shadow at the time of zenith. Normally our perception was that it is zero or no shadow at all, but we had shown that there is definitely a shadow at the time of zenith, depending on where you are, depending on what is the angle at which the sun is rising or sun is at that level of at the time of zenith, and that we had established or we had denoted that shadow to be Fay. So recap on these terminologies, right? Zawal is the zenith and Fay is the shadow that is at the time of a zenith. What we need to now understand in this video here, before we go into the final culmination of this our video or our discussion, is the change of this Fay shadow in the higher latitude areas. We had seen the animation in regards to Makkah al-Mukarramah, and we had seen that in November, December, January, February, around those areas there is slight bit of Fay involved, and to calculate the one shadow or the two shadow for Asr, and we will have to have that portion of Fay and exclude it from our calculation of one shadow and two shadow. Now we want to see how that kind of a Fay, that kind of a shadow affects us in higher latitudes. I have changed a few things in our animation here. I have changed this observer's latitude to 45.5 degrees, which is for Montreal. That is my local city here. And that's pretty much it right now for now. Okay, we are still looking at step by day, meaning we are looking at a particular time, which is 12 o'clock in noon, and the sun position will remain still at the at this 12 o'clock noon, and we will see only the change in the shadow per day. So if one day the shadow is this much, what will be the shadow on the next day and the next day? Actually, we are going, the animation speed is at 15 days per second, so we are changing it at 15 days. Let us start this animation and we will see, we will have the similar pattern as the last video, but now it is more clear. You will see here that the shadow starts going smaller and then it stops at a certain place and it remains there. Now this is the shortest Fay or shortest shadow of zenith or shadow at the time of zenith you will get throughout the year. This does tell us one thing, and that is that because there is a shadow, there needs to be adjustment in the calculation of your Zohar Salah or Asr Salah. Remember, again, reminder that the Zohar Salah is starting right after the this shadow reaches a certain stagnancy, right? If you look at the comments of the previous video from Ustad Abdul Shakur Brooks, he has mentioned a trivial or a very simple method of calculating it by placing some rocks and seeing when the shadow stops to change. The idea is same, that establishes the zawal, and then from there on the Zohar Salah is calculated, and that shadow has to be excluded in the calculation of your Asr Salah for one shadow or two shadow. It doesn't really matter. Okay, now what I want you to notice is the change in this shadow as we go into the winter days, and this is going to be surprising. Let's start the animation again, and while we go into the September, October, let's stop it here again. In September, you will notice that while we are still in September, the shadow at the time of the zenith, the Fay itself, is about 1 times the object, right? That's amazing. Now those who say that the time of the Asr Salah is 1 shadow, they are not calculating that 1 shadow according to this Fay. No, they have to exclude this, right? So, and that makes a difference. In September in Montreal, the Shawafi and the other madhahib, they won't be praying their Asr Salah at this time, right? This is when their Zohar Salah will come in, although the shadow is already 1 time the object. So I hope you're understanding that this change in shadow at the time of zawal is affecting our perception or understanding of the calculation of Asr. Let's continue how it changes further as it goes into November and December. And this is quite important here. Let's pause here. It's somewhere around 29th December. Notice that the shadow at the time of the highest elevation, that is zenith itself, is more than twice. It's about twice the object. Okay, now this is the time when Zohar is starting. Again, this is the time when Zohar is starting. Imagine if the Zohar is starting right now, then how much further the shadow has to go until you actually start to pray Asr. That is why you will need to calculate your Asr Salah excluding this amount of shadow. This is at 12 o'clock. Now in the next video, what you will see basically is we will condense this animation, or we will bring down this animation to 1 day, right, to a day, and we will see in the morning till the evening how that change of the sun actually changes the shadow throughout that day, right? Again, we will also pause and take a look at the Fay, and then we will try to ascertain what kind of a changes that Fay will make to the Zohar and Asr. I hope this has been helpful. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.